Yo, 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 what's good, everyone? It's your boy GD, the sports actor, and we are back. First off, I just want to say happy Monday, December 1st. The first falling on a Monday for the first of the month only feels right. And tonight, we have Monday Night Football prime time. Super excited for this one, as we didn't get to watch the New York Giants on the Sunday slate. I thought football was pretty dry, went out to the movies, did some other things. I caught a few games, but it's always exciting when you get to watch the New York Giants play. Now, the New York Giants are about to face off against the New England Patriots. New York Giants record currently sits at 2-10, while the Patriots sit at 10-2. Complete opposite sides of the spectrum, but do not look at the record when it comes to this, because the New York Giants are probably the best 2-10 team I've ever seen. While, you have a couple frauds out there, a couple fraudulent teams with some good records. To name a few, I'd have to say the Colts, I'd have to say the Broncos, and I'd have to say the Eagles, of course. And the New England Patriots, they're a team who's on a 9-game win streak. They've been able to win out their games. A couple of them they should have, lost, but they've been able to finish, and that's what you have to do. You have to finish games. We've been able to potentially almost win all of our games. Our record should be, in my eyes, 10-2, or could look a lot different, but we just weren't able to close out games. But that is over, because we finally let go of Shane Bowen, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that, of course. Now, if we look at this will be pretty exciting, as Jackson Dart and Drake May are probably the two youngest superstar QBs that are currently in the league right now. You do have maybe one or two others. Bryce Young seems to be doing really well as well, but these two are electrifying. You want to see them play. They play great under pressure. They have, their teams aren't necessarily fully built out, but they're still giving you electrifying football. And these are two electrifying young QBs. And I really do think that, it's going to be a great game. I do think it's going to be a great game. Although I do think our defense is going to perform a bit better. I'd like to think that still you're going to get, a lot of great passes, a lot of good touchdowns, a lot of good runs, and I'm excited for this one. So as we get into this one a little bit more, as I said before, you have Jackson Dart cleared for concussion protocol. I know a lot of us were wondering if he was going to be, if Mike Kafka was going to put him into play, because although he was cleared maybe about 3 days ago, it was still up in the air what the New York Giants were going to do. Now, side note, you want to bubble wrap a guy like this when the playoff is not even in question, when we can't even make it to the playoffs. Is there any point of putting Jackson Dart out there in harm's way? But also, you want to get your reps in. The Jackson Dart has only played about 7 games in the NFL. And I do think that, just like Drake May, year 2 will look it'll look a whole lot different. It'll look a whole lot different. I think he'll have all that experience under his belt, and he'll come out electrifying in year 2. But that doesn't happen if you sit him out for these next 5 games. You still got to play football, still got to be able to see different types of defenses and schematics that are put up against you, and it's always good to get reps in. So I understand the decision, and I back it. I'm with it. Definitely, let's put him out there. I think the offensive line has been playing great. The running game is looking good to be able to take the pressure off of just making it a pass-only game. And I do think that, the young QB is hungry, wants to play, doesn't like sitting on the sidelines. So let's put him in. Let's put him out there, and, let's just hope for no more concussions. Although he's only really had the one. He's been into the tent 4 times. People love to talk about that, but he's only been in concussion protocol once. And that's going to happen when you're taking, some of these risks, when you're playing with some of that grit. And I wouldn't change that for the world. So as we look ahead, I do think that the Patriots, the Giants do have a chance to win this game. And, basically for the reason that the Patriots are missing a lot of people on their offensive line. And one of their key factors on offensive line that they're missing is Will Campbell. Now, that is Will Campbell plays left tackle for the New England Patriots. And if you're talking about disruption, if you're talking about a guy that you don't want to miss when you have a guy on the other side who is usually more dominant on that side by the name of Brian Burns, you would really want someone like Will Campbell to be out there. But he is out, and I believe they do have a replacement in there, a vet, a journeyman. Let me see if I could find the name real quick. Okay, I believe off the top of my head the gentleman's name is like Bowen or Bowman. Okay, so it looks like left tackle Will Campbell. Looks like their guard Jared Wilson. Both got injuries from playing against the Bengals, and it looks like offensive tackle Vidarian Lowe will start for Campbell on that left tackle side. Now Lowe, is he's played in the league. He's a vet out here. You also have backup Ben Brown, who will be stepping in for Jared Wilson at that guard position. So the offensive line is beat up, and it's not like the offensive line has really been great for the New England Patriots. A lot of their success has come from Drake May himself willing this team to win. Same as you could say about Jackson Dart in a lot of the games that he's been out there and just looked great. It's just through a lot of will, from these young QBs. So, when you have a defense like the New York Giants, who just recently fired, Shane Bowen, which I'm super, super excited about. And we replaced him with one of our defensive coordinators, Charlie Bullen, who's never been a DC in terms of calling plays. He's always been an assistant, but I'm super excited. There's a lot of confidence in the room about him. I heard his interview and saw what he did off of bat to be able to, rally the troops, and everyone started doing a little bit of tackling and practicing some tackling. And the guys do practice tackling throughout the year. It's not like something like this is uncommon, but coming right in, and that's what you want to make sure you focus on. I really do think that he has some good eyes. Charlie Bullen was the linebacker coach, I believe, did a lot with Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and the linebackers. And as you can tell, Abdul Carter right now is playing Brian Burns is playing out of his mind, playing some really good football. And I can probably say that is mostly due to him, but partially due to having a good coach and having somebody scheme up the way that he's supposed to attack, which I'm super excited about. I think we're going to have just a different mindset when it comes to which players are on the field, what stunts we can do to get after the quarterback, and that's what we need. And so now that you have Charlie Bullen coming into the mix and you have this concoction of offensive line out, I do think that some pressures are going to be there. Listen, Brian Burns is hungry. He hasn't had a sack in the last, I believe, 2-3 games. In Chicago, I wish he had gotten maybe 2 or 3. He was there, but that guy, Caleb Williams, he's a slippery fellow. And he was able to get out of a lot of those tackles that should have been sacks, and he was able to do some things. But, I don't know if Drake May is as slippery. I don't know if he's, as good on his feet. He does like to stay within the pocket, a lot. And so I do think this is going to create great opportunity for the defensive front to really get in there. I saw the interview that happened with Dex, and they were asking him about how he felt about Shane Bowen being let go. And Dex, although said, he doesn't wish anything like that to happen, that, he understands that you got to do something. And he says, well, you don't have to do something, but you got to do something. And someone has to answer for everything that was going on. And I've never seen Dex smile like that all year. It's been a full year, and Dex has not smiled like that, and he looks happy. He looks relieved. It looks like some new things are going to be happening on this defensive front, and that's really what I'll be looking at. I'm really excited about that point. Now, if we look at some of the other things, we do have Cordell Flott back. It'll be interesting to see where Stephon Diggs decides to match up, because although Stephon Diggs has been able to have a decent stat line, and he's been present in some of these big moments, I don't think that he's playing his best football this season. Not at all. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe, has better stats than Stephon Diggs, and Wan'Dale has better stats than a lot of other people. JJ, being someone as well. Wan'Dale's just playing incredible football this season, contract year, and I do hope that we sign Wan'Dale Robinson. But when it comes down to the defense, I do think that we do have lockdown defense in the secondary. I think that the front will be able to make it uneasy for Drake May, and that'll give time for us to take away options. Hopefully we're in man coverage and we're playing just a different brand of football than what Shane Bowen was putting out there, and we're able to close out these games. So I'm super, super excited about the pass rush. I'm super excited about the the secondary. We get Tyler Nubin and Banks back. I don't think Banks will probably see the field, but always good to see that you have your depth pieces there as well. People who are familiar, just in case anything were to happen. You got some guys who can, come in and hopefully step in and continue to keep the ball rolling. So, when we look at that, we see Jackson Dart going up against Drake May. Super excited about that. We have Tyron Tracy. The offensive line, as I said before, is playing great. They really are. I do think that we should keep Carmen Basillo, because I think that he came in first year and he really changed this team up. Brought his man Jermaine Illuminor, Greg Van Roten, and really just addressed how this line blocks. And I think that this line is not only blocking well in the pass block, but the run blocking, I think that they're doing well. They're doing really, really good. They're creating holes and opportunities for guys like Tyron Tracy, Devin Singletary to really go in there and maximize and use their talents. And Tyron Tracy is reminding us all that, Cam Scadaboo is here. He probably is RB1, but I'm here too, and I make a great, 1-2 punch. So you guys should not forget about me. So I'm super excited to see Tyron Tracy put some numbers up. Super excited to see, Jackson Dart being able to use weapons like Isaiah Hodgins, who was brought in, and Jameis Winston was doing a lot with Isaiah Hodgins, so I can only imagine what Jackson Dart will be able to do. Wan'Dale will continue his production as well, and I'm just excited for this game, man. So just wanted to give a little brief preview on what we can expect in this game. I do think that it'll be... If I were to put a score out there, I'm going to say that, 28, 24, something like that, 24-21, New York Giants, and I'm going to stick to it. So just wanted to give a brief preview, and appreciate you guys. Tell me in the comments who you guys think is going to win. Tell me what you think the score is going to be, and we'll be here for after the game in the post breakdown. But until then, let's go Blue! Peace.